today I want to have a really quick conversation with you about the differences between proactive and reactive types of marketing. So we're coming off this really long run in real estate right now, longer than we've ever seen before, where for the past, since really 2010 or 11 to 2022, we had this run, so 10 or 11 or 12 years maybe, of increasing real estate values, which means that if you overprice a property, all you had to do is give it a minute, and eventually the market would increase to catch up to where your price was and you'd be able to sell it. During the pandemic, it meant that most of the time didn't even have an opportunity to get the property marketed. We were lucky if we could do an open house. We'd get a sign in the yard and we'd get it on the MLS and we'd be flooded with showings and offers, and we'd sell it for $20,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 over asking price, right? But that is not the market we're in right now. If you've been paying attention at all, you know the market has shifted dramatically. So what that means right now is that this is more like the market that we were in right after the crash in 2007, 2008, 2009. When I got my license originally in 1987, it was way worse than it is right now. We're still in a seller's market right now. We have about 2 or 2.5 months inventory on the market, which until we get to 4, 5, or 6 months, which is about 3 times as many listings as we have currently on the market, would we be considered in more of a buyer's market? We're still in a seller's market. It doesn't feel like it to a lot of sellers, but we are. When I got into business in 87, we were in a real buyer's market. Interest rates were 11, 12, 13%. It took us 10 months on the average to sell a home. We would sell an average of 20% of the homes that we listed. The average price was $50,000, $55,000. That's a buyer's market. That's a tough market. In those markets, marketing and taking good care of the property during that whole marketing process really mattered more than anything else. And so really any agent that's gotten the business in the last 10 or 12 years is super spoiled. They don't know what it's like to have to hold a property in inventory for a period of time and to be proactive or to be aggressive or to be creative in the ways we go market the property. Reactive types of marketing are things that we just do and the agent sits and waits for the buyers to come to us, right? So that's things like putting the property on the MLS, and then the MLS automatically syndicates that out to, a few thousand sites. That's super reactive. We just put it on there and we're waiting for somebody to come to us. Putting a sign in the yard, posting it maybe on our own social media, just putting an open house sign up, on the corner and holding an open house. Those are things, as an agent, we have to do those things, but they're very reactive. And unfortunately, that is what most agents think their marketing plan is right now. And in all fairness, that's by and large what their marketing plan has had to be for the past few years. So, but anybody who's been in the business for an extended period of time knows that at some point you got to get more creative and more aggressive, more proactive than that. So proactive types of marketing are ways where we go out and find where the potential buyer is, and we go hunt that buyer specifically. And it's not just we're looking for a buyer, we're looking for the buyer, the person that will spend the most amount of money for your home in your neighborhood. Your home has a different value to different buyers. If somebody works closer to where your home is and their commute shortened, then that home's possibly worth more money than it would be if they lived an hour away. If grandma lives around the corner, that's possibly worth more money to that buyer than somebody who didn't have any relatives in the neighborhood. If you have a specific amenity that if you have a bowling alley in your basement and your buyer is a professional bowler, it's probably that's a dumb example, I know, but it's probably worth more to that buyer than it would be just to anybody who's a casual bowler like me and bowls a nice 70 or 80 once in a while, right? The reason I talk about that is that it's not enough to go find a buyer. We want to find the buyer because the buyer will buy the property for the most amount of money, put the most amount of money in your pocket, and get to closing, right? So those things are really important. So the proactive types of marketing we do are to figure out what the avatar of that buyer looks like. What do they look like? How much do they make? How many kids do they have? Where do they live? Where do they work? What's ideal for that individual, right? Like if they've got a barn, we know that somebody that's in the equestrian side of it has equestrian interests are going to come and buy that property very likely, right? And pay the most amount of money for it. We go find out where those people are, where they live, where they work, how much money they have, and where they're shopping, and we go make sure that we proactively get your property in front of them. So some of the ways we do that are, we had a townhouse for sale here in Draper just a little while ago, and it was competing with 2 or 3 other townhouses in the same complex. And rather than have a race to the bottom, the race to the most competitive price, what we did is we offered some very special financing through a local credit union who had 0 down, 40-year amortization, 15-year rate. So the rate was a point lower, the amortization was longer, the payment was about $800 less than it would be through traditional financing. We packaged that financing piece up. We then got a list, partnered with our lender, to go and proactively market that property to every single renter within a half-mile radius that was paying, that had a credit score of more than 650 and was paying, $2,500 a month in rent. That's proactive marketing. It means it's a lot more work for us. We got to get on the phones, or we got to get mailing pieces out, or we got to get their emails. We got to be proactive about that. But what happens is when we find somebody and they're interested, they don't look at every other property in the city. They look at our property, we capture that buyer first, we bring them in, we write an offer, we get it done, it goes to closing, and our seller makes more money, right? That's proactive marketing. We look for people who are selling at 30% below or 30% above, and they're either moving up or moving down. We look for people that work in the area and market to people that work in the area. When we do social media advertising, we don't just blanket social media, because social media, you can only, on Facebook, you can only market as little as a 15-mile radius. Well, if your home's in South Jordan, it doesn't help me to market to people that are in Tooele necessarily right now. Create a custom list on Facebook. If we know what their interests are, we can drop a pixel, we can follow that potential buyer all the way around Facebook and make sure that we capture their interest before they go looking at every other property on the market. There are some other really interesting things we could do. We have a really unique technology that will actually predict when somebody is about to go buy a house, because it will look at their web traffic and what they're looking at on the web, and it will alert us as to, they're in our database and they're looking to go buy a house. So we go market directly to those people. We go directly to an agent-to-agent campaign where we are marketing directly to agents who have sold properties just like that in the neighborhood in the last 4, 5, 6 months, or in the last 2 or 3 weeks. They have buyers that may already be or still be looking in that marketplace. We go market directly to lenders who work a lot in that marketplace, who might have pre-qualified people all ready to go. We give them a heads up right before the listing goes live, so there's a benefit. There's a myriad of ways that we get highly aggressive and highly proactive when we're talking about marketing. Yes, that stuff costs us a lot of money. Yes, that stuff costs us a lot of time. The reason we do it is because if all we do is reactive stuff, then we're working on a limited buyer base, and the fewer buyers we have, then the fewer showings we get, the fewer offers we get, the less likely you're going to put maximum amount of money in your pocket. If we can go spend the dollars and invest the time and invest the resources and be crafty and smart and creative about the marketing, then guess what? You get more eyeballs on your house, you get more people through that funnel, you get more people into the virtual tour, you get more people that actually come show the property, you get more offers, and you get a higher net value, sales price, and you end up with more money in your pocket at closing. That's the whole goal. Everything we do is designed to get you as much money at closing as we possibly can, right? So that's the difference between reactive and proactive marketing. So no matter what your goal is or what you're trying to do, selling your home on your own, selling your home with your friend who's an agent, or retaining us, either way, just make sure that whatever you're doing, your emphasis is on the proactive marketing side in this business. Because if you're going to sell a home in 2023 in Utah right now, you got to be proactive about it. Reactive marketing is so 2020.